This is the homepage of the Produce Box app. As you can see, the intention is for folks coming from food insecure neighborhoods to be able to receive free food deliveries while making connections with their larger community as well. So that's not just the community of folks they live around, that's the community of farmers who produce the food, and it's the community of nonprofit reps who are helping to connect these people and deliver these foods. Just to get a little bit into my background, I used to do food justice work, food insecurity work, and in that nonprofit space, I was on a single person team running back and forth between farmers and community residents, trying to develop menus that community residents would recognize and would actually consume. I remember thinking very often that I would need either another teammate or some form of technology to help me accomplish what I was trying to do. And so that was the sort of the origin of the idea for this app. I used React to develop the front end for this project, and then I did Flask and SQL Alchemy, as well as PostgreSQL for the backend logic and database functionalities. And so, yeah, we can jump right in with registration. The idea here was to allow users to create accounts. Depending on what kind of user you are, you're able to choose here. And you'll see certain portions of the application depending on who you are. So we can get started here. I'll just use myself as a random example. So when we hit register, it does at this point take you back to the landing page. In addition to having registration options, we want to, of course, have a login function as well. So that brings us to this page. Very simple login functionality. Again, I'll use myself as an example. This user type is also here on login because once you do have an account, you are able to switch between types to see different things. Farmers don't only get to contribute. If they'd like to be customers, we'd like them to have that option as well. And so we'll hit login here. You see your name is taken up, and then you have options for navigating elsewhere. We can log back out, but we can also head back to the landing page. But if we move forward still, we can go to the About page here, and we can get a little rundown of what this the project's intentions are and stuff like that. And we'll get a sense of how it works. Click in here. So when you are a farmer, this is just a sort of a snapshot, a walkthrough, but when you are a farmer, the idea is you'll be able to create categories and specific offerings based on what you're able to grow, which is based on your location. So we can see here we've already got some example categories. You're able to select them when you're posting your new offering down below. You can delete them if you're making errors. We can do a quick test here. If we have a farmer who is able to produce ciders, we see that populated there. And you're able to choose it and describe the offerings that you have in more detail. I think for me, I'll actually do herbal med. So let's say we use comfrey root as an example. And these fields here, are nullable. So if you find that you are contributing carrots, for example, we don't know of any side effects of carrots, you can leave that blank. If you were bringing in breads, you'd give a baked date. If you were bringing in teas or herbs, you'd give a dried date, etc. And so I'll just leave these blank. And so we can talk about a drop-off location. The intention is for farmers to drop off at a farmer's market so that they're not running all over town as in an effort to contribute. So I'll just say, as an example, alrighty. And so we'll click here to basically see what our community residents can choose from. And so this is the shopping functionality. So we see we've had a cart up here in the nav bar. What you're able to do is if you decide as a community resident that you want to try out some carrots, you're able to add those to your cart. That comes out from the right here, and you can see your function. If you want to do more than one batch, you're able to do that. And you also have a record of the amount of money you're essentially saving for having chosen to work with this app versus going to a grocery store or, that sort of thing. And so what we're also able to do is see offering details. So we'll use the kale as an example. You've got your title here. You've got some details about where this fictional kale came from. And then you have your contribution date, that batch value. If you want to add it to cart, you're able to do that, or you're able to pop back over to the offerings page. And so you can add lots of different things. You see our buttons give us a status report of what's already in the cart, and you can adjust count from here. So once you are finished adding things to your cart, that order will be saved automatically, and then you're able to basically confirm your address here, and then you can learn a little bit more about the farmers who contributed. Ideally, there'd be a photo of that farmer, or at least the farm. And then down here, you have options for making edits to the order. So if you do want to make changes, you're able to navigate back. Otherwise, if you need to change a delivery location, the idea is you can make those changes more than 24 hours out. This button will basically take you to email. It connects to my personal email, so I won't click it, but you can see the URL down there in the bottom left. So a couple things I forgot to mention in the video are the learnings and the optional or the ideal enhancements, I guess. The biggest learning for me was about scoping out the project on the front end. So really getting a clear understanding of what was required, how much work that took was a very important exercise for me. And then in terms of enhancements, I would really like to get authentication working well on this page, or excuse me, on this app. A lot of the functionality is based on the type of user that you sign in as, and so I want to make sure that folks are able to use that going forward.